Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Arkham Horror Podcast. I'm joined by Daniel from Quick Learner. How's it going, Daniel?
Pretty good. I have just been playing a lot of the new core set, and I know that's what we're going to talk about here. Like, we're recording this on a Monday. I yesterday spent the whole afternoon playing through the new core with a friend of mine on my channel on a stream, and you just played it, what, last week?
Yeah,
All
on
in one
Wednesday
sitting too?
last week. So it's the 30th today, and we played it on the 25th. We ran the whole
Yeah.
thing in one night, which was good. So actually, secretly, don't tell anyone on the internet this, but the short campaigns, I'm actually kind of excited to, be able to run them in, one night. And then finish a whole run, be happy with my deck, and then release those videos 3 days after each other. That's what I did with the core set for this time. I released episode 1 on Friday, episode 2 on Saturday, episode 3 on Sunday, which I haven't done since 2016, 2017 on this channel. So a long time since then.
I mean, I thought even just playing them all in one afternoon as a stream, I don't usually stream, made a lot of sense. I was like, well, I did a solo Iron Man stream back in January, and that was a bit, that's a lot, playing through 8 scenarios at once. We've done it before together, but this was totally doable. It's like, I think we finished it in 3.5 hours of gameplay or so. Granted, we're doing it on TTS, so things are a lot faster to set up, but it was an easy stream. It was fun, and I don't mind a shorter campaign just to say, yeah, here we did a whole thing. And I'm sure that some people with their groups maybe can play it over a whole weekend or maybe a whole day, just make an event rather than dragging an 8 scenario thing over 3 months.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I would wager that FFG has some sort of audience analytics that they're using to make this decision. I feel like this decision was not made for reasons that people have been using the buzzword shrinkflation.
Yeah.
I don't think that is the reason why this is happening. I do legitimately believe that the intention was retention, right? That people will are going to be more. I mean, it's also the thing that I've noticed in the board game industry as a whole is that campaign games have gotten shorter, right? Because they used to be enjoy this 45 session campaign game, and people would just stop playing them, right? And now a lot of campaign games I see they're hovering around 10 to 15 sessions, and people are like, okay, I can maybe bite into that, right? And I mean, Arkham is a lot smaller than those to begin with, but I think if the industry trends smaller, even the small ones are gonna explore the idea of trending smaller.
Yeah, we can talk about this more with our experience with the core, but it is worth saying that the old core also had 3 scenarios. So, the idea of this being a short campaign isn't quite right. This is what I expect from the core set anyway.
Yeah.
And just taking it for the value of what's in the box. There's a whole bunch of player cards, there's a whole bunch of investigators, and there's a 3 scenario campaign that's the same as the old thing. So, going forward, yeah, more to talk about what a 3 scenario or a 5 scenario campaign in one box, and that's it gets you. But I enjoyed playing the 3 scenarios.
Yeah, so this is for at least for playing board games, this is going to likely be sort of the review, quote unquote, of the campaign.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I'm going to make a video actually talking about my thoughts on it, because the reality is that I wasn't a big fan of Night of the Zealot. It was one of those things where I play it once and I'm happy. And ultimately, that's true here for Brethren of Ash. It's when you strip it down and look at it, this scenario, Spreading Flames, is The Gathering. This scenario, Smoke and Mirrors, is Midnight Masks. This scenario, Queen of Ash, is Devourer Below. I will say that they are different enough, right? This is the bones are the same, but the meat on the bones is different. And I think that it's not enough for me to be ooh, I can't wait to play this campaign a million times, but that's also mostly just because, again, Night of the Zealot, I never really like went out of my way to want to play that scenario, that campaign, right? Overall, I think that this is a better campaign than Night of the Zealot. I think that they took a lot of lessons, especially when it came down to the final scenario. I think Queen of Ash is much better than Devourer Below. Midnight Masks is better than Smoke and Mirrors, but again, it's so similar that it is still like a good foundation that there's going to be a lot of replayability that comes with it. And Spreading Flames, I actually do think is better than The Gathering as well. So like overall, I think that these are improvements. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm more excited for Children of Blood for that 3-scenario campaign because that's going to be new and exciting.
I've played this one twice now, and I guess I'm not sure the format of how we're going to talk about this, but I'll just kind of give my overall experience. The difference between playing it the first time and the second time was quite different, just because I kind of knew what to do. But I think the first time I played, it was with a Daniela and Dexter. It was a little bit of a, I wouldn't say memey, but it wasn't what the campaign was asking me to do. And it was much harder than I expected, given like, oh, this is probably like The Gathering. This is probably like Midnight Masks. And there's enough, as you say, there's like the DNA is the same for these, but the meat on the bones is different enough that I felt like I got a little bit by surprise. Again, this is in 2-player. You played with Travis and Bryn as a 3-player group, which might change some things too. But I quite enjoyed it both times. I felt like there was maybe not something new to discover, but it was still just a fun romp, I suppose.
Yep.
And I do think that especially the last one felt different from the Devourer Below in both like tone and mechanics, whereas the other two were a bit more like, oh, this is very reminiscent of like the map of the other scenarios from Night of the Zealot. But I think with a different encounter sets and a bit different pacing, it played different.
Yes, the encounter set design, these new encounter sets I actually think are very strong.
Yes.
We won't know about, like, we won't get emotionally attached to them right now because we've only had them for, what, like a week, you know? So it's like one of those things where, like, it doesn't have the legs of, like, Rotting Remains, right? Like, or, like, Frozen in Fear, which, I mean, there is no real big, like, Frozen in Fear type card, which some would argue is good. I actually think ultimately it probably is okay that Frozen in Fear is not a basic card anymore. But I think these encounter cards are actually stellar. And I think that there's a lot of good forward-thinking design when it comes to these encounter cards. The art that you have behind you right now, the new Ancient Evils, I think is actually much meaner than regular Ancient Evils.
Have you taken the direct damage and horror?
I did once, and then I was like, I don't think I'm ever doing that again. So it was funny, because when Travis saw this card, he was like, oh, this is soft. He's like, this is easy. And then Bryn took a direct damage and a direct horror and gained Surge, and suddenly every other encounter card is a lot more lethal because of that, right? It's one of those things where I think that this card is like a trap for people to take the direct damage and direct horror. And it's just easier to just use this as an Ancient Evils, but I think that this is a really good different version of Ancient Evils that might make people think it's, I mean, like, there's a lot more healing, so like people can kind of like tech for it in the long run, but it is still a lot. Like 1-in-1 and Surge, like that's a powerful effect.
In solo or maybe 2-player, like the Surge part doesn't matter quite as much, but in higher player counts, the fact that you're cycling through the deck again and then maybe seeing this again means that you might as well have just taken the Ancient Evils already. It reminds me of in the Forgotten Age with the card that does basically the same things, like you give it Vengeance or you drop Doom on a location and then you gain Surge one way or another. You feel really stupid sometimes about like, well, if I knew that the next card was just going to do this anyway, I would have just taken the vengeance. And this card, I think, is going to be really interesting because people are going to, I think, play this differently on their second run through a scenario because they have a better idea of what happens when the agenda advances and what kind of doom pressure there really is. And then they're going to say, well, maybe it's better for me to take the direct damage and horde now because I think the doom matters.
Yeah.
But I think on your blind play, you should just take the doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. You'll probably be okay.
Yep. When you played your runs, did you just do Chapter 2? Did you just do like core pool, or did you do other stuff?
The first run, I think it was just about all core cards, and then the second run was with the Evergreen Investigator decks, because we played an Andre as well.
Nice. Yeah, because we have all those cards spoiled now. Yeah. Yeah, we did ours with just core only. And apart from the fact that, we'll talk about that stuff as well, because we're kind of talking about, like, the campaign and the core box here. Because, the reality is, for me, is that I don't have too much to say about the campaign. I think it's better, right? Like, it's exactly what I said earlier. I think it's a really good foundation. I think the treacheries and enemies, like this guy, I like this set, right? Like these are just sets that are going to just, like, show up, right? Like, they're not, as you see, it's not spreading flames here. There's also a lot of smart design that you might not notice if you haven't played a lot of Arkham. But this Dormitories is its own encounter set. So this is the Miskatonic University encounter set. This is also true for Arkham and the sewers. So these are places that they're able to revisit, which is something that they did not have in the original core, because it was always like, go to Midnight Masks and pull out these locations, right? Now they can just be like, grab the Arkham locations, right? Which is much better, like, forward design.
Yeah, the Arkham Woods, I think, in Devour Below was its own encounter set that they used once in TCU, but they never really knew how to incorporate it either. So I feel like this is, as you say, forward thinking, where they can say, yeah, we do want to use these encounter sets again. It's easier to pick them out. Don't have the treacheries problem from Midnight Masks as well. All that's good stuff that they learned from the first 10 years of the game. That said, to kind of wonder, like, the sewers, how do we see those again? Like, that's the one set where they said you can do some replacements for if you just buy the new core and you're playing old campaigns, like they gave us in the Grimoire. Here's your, one-to-one mapping of which sets you could use that do kind of the same thing. They flat out said, you can't do this with the Arkham Woods. Like, you can't, there's nothing in the, for playing the first scenario of TCU, there's nothing in our new core that makes sense there. I'm like, I don't know, just throw in the sewers. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm curious to see that. Yeah, the sewers, like, we kind of have something that I think is really neat, is the ever-continuing story that's expanding here. So as the Silver Twilight Lodge has been, they've disbanded since Cthulhu showed up. They were like, oh, damn, wait a minute. That's the guy? We were, like, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of even curious to see if like, the sewers kind of become a reoccurring theme in the next one, right? Like, especially with this Elikos type, the big tree in the sewers, is that going to be something that's going to have, like, some tendrils kind of leaking into other campaigns as things come together?
So one thing in the original core that maybe they made as justification of not using the ghouls set over and over was that the ghouls didn't really have a place in the future campaign, so you couldn't see Grasping Hands again. I have the same question about the Ashen Pilgrims, the ones that you just saw here, the Cantor of Flame and the Hellhound. Like, they seem very, I don't know, Queen of Ash coated, but maybe that means we'll see more of these guys in some fashion that makes sense.
One thing that we know is that fire is a thing that is now standard core, right? Which I think is good, is that I think fire... So, the fire was actually probably my favorite addition to these scenarios. I think it actually has an impact in all the times it shows up. And I think it's a really fun mechanic that the designers implemented into these scenarios. and I'm curious to see how they continue to explore it. But I feel like this is like a thing where when there's fire, there's hellhounds, right? So it's like one of those things where maybe they're just like by nature associated with one another. I'm curious to see how that happens as well.
Yeah, you're right. The fire treacheries in the first and third scenarios make those scenarios quite different
Yeah.
from the original. Like the fact that non-elite cards with health take direct damage. That's you. That's potentially your doomed bystanders. And then in the finale, you can't do damage to enemies when there's fire around, and that's very spooky. And that agility test on there is kind of important to figure out how to get rid of these things. Or then the finale has another way of doing it too. But it is present. It's really cool. Good design.
I think that's actually the thing that is the biggest, at least like noticeable change for the treacheries and like the encounter cards is that foot matters a lot now. It's a lot better than it does in the original core, which is, I think, a much needed change where we were being forced to use our foot constantly in our run, right?
Yes.
And I think that was really, really nice to, like, be faced with, as opposed to just, like, Dexter Drake being like, I'll braid my way through everything, you know? Yeah.
I agree. And the presence of elusive makes that true, too. So I had... The first team was bad at foot, and we just kind of... I don't know. It wasn't great. Like, the outcome was not super positive, even though we got pretty close. But... having elusive, having other agility treacheries in the encounter deck and whatnot. Well, I mean, even just the finale itself, you kind of need to evade the boss. I think the whole set just feels more even to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the counter cards, the scenarios themselves, instead of it being a bit mean, I'm not going to say, like, there's not hard things, but I think it's noticeably more approachable from the standpoint of just the core sets and even with the Investigator starter decks. Like, you can do it. It's not like they're trying to tell you just eat shit because that's how Devour Below feels. Just it's cruel, and I think this is much doable.
There's kind of synergies as well that you don't really see synergies in the original core. It was kind of just like, here's a bad card, here's a bad card, here's a bad card, right? But like this card right here, Aerial Pursuit, is actually also a pretty mean encounter card. Because it synergizes with the bats, but they're from the same set. You can see the little winged claw. When the bats are also kind of a big boy. Like, this is a big enemy. But it also synergizes with the whippoorwills, right? They don't attack you, but the whippoorwills that you're running from now move to your location and all your stats are worse. This guy has an engage trigger, right? This guy could potentially attack you twice with this card, which is like a spicy meatball that comes with it, right? Like, these are kind of things that didn't exist in the original core, which is, I think, what makes the new core feel fresh, and I also think be a better, tighter experience for new players, where, like, the encounter cards aren't just, here's a haymaker, it's like, here is a light punch that we're specifically targeting to the sternum, which we already punched 2 times before, and now you're, like, going to, like, we're going to break your sternum, right? Like, it's kind of like a little bit more focused, which I think is an enjoyable play experience as a player, rather than just, like, haymaker, haymaker, haymaker. And I think that it feels very fresh, which is why I had a good time with it, and why I also recommend even long-time players check it out, because I think it is... I mean, the Treachery and encounter card design, like the enemy and Treachery design, have actually been stellar for, like, Drowned City and then Hemlock Vale. I actually think, like, there's been some good stuff. I mean, like, Scarlet Keys also have had good stuff as well, but, like, specifically this new design team, I think their encounter cards are, like, the best we've seen in Arkham. And I think that continues here with these cards, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, what's cool about Aerial Pursuit being a core set card is you can dial up the difficulty on what this does in every scenario,
Yes.
right? This is such a blank canvas card, right?
Yeah.
And since it specifies non-elite, it's not going to break anything in the scenario design. It's just going to be exactly what else you put into the deck. And the fact that it has Surge means that it is, it's not going to take up any space in the encounter deck either. So it's really good.
Yeah.
I think there's another thing that places Doom on enemies in this one. Might be any enemy, I think, too. Feels very similar.
Yeah, this racing suspicions. And that the other one on this set is this red herring.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice scaling. So this one is placed on Doom on the nearest enemy. Yeah. So it's kind of funny, because this one is like the enemies come to you, and this one is like, you better go get those enemies, which I think is really cool. Especially elusive being in the core. I think Bat Horror was one of the first times where I felt like elusive wasn't a perk, except for maybe the those Velociraptors in Film Fatale. But like this guy having elusive actually was like, okay, I would really like to kill this guy, but like he just keeps like popping away, you know?
So I was playing Daniela.
Yeah.
And I'm not new Daniela. I'm not entirely sure about the timing on the reaction for her and elusive. I just grim ruled it because, I'm not sure. And I'm hoping for some clarification. But basically, the enemy comes as a hunter, attacks you, and then leaves. Do you get a window to react where it's an actual fight action? Because you can't take fight actions against enemies not at your location. So is there room there before he leaves for you to actually take the fight? And I just said no. That didn't feel right because it felt like she can't do much against these elusive enemies. Maybe we'll get some clarification, but this guy was really tough for exactly that reason. I was like, I would like to use literally anything in play and not just waste my soak. But I like the mechanic. I think elusive is good for the game.
Yeah.
It does push evasion though a little bit more than we're all used to.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
And I would say not having a 4 or 3 or even a 5 in your foot made the first run a lot harder. And having a better mix, I think, of stats. And in 3-player, you probably were fine there too, with Izzy doing commits. But it's really hard to get a lot done if you're chasing after these fools. It's just very hard. Oh
yeah, our Smoke and Mirrors was actually an awful run. We did awful in that scenario. I mean, we got like, okay, I say awful, but we got like, we interviewed one person. We killed another person because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then we defeat the Servant of Flame because he showed up first for us. He was our first pull.
Ooh.
So, like, we got 3 out of 6, which was about on par with our original Midnight Masks run back in the day. I think we might have got 2 in that one because we were still learning. But, like, with a smaller card pool and, like, less options to, like, solve problems, it was these enemies were overwhelming. It didn't help that Brendan didn't draw a weapon, like his spell for, like, the whole scenario. And we kind of got overwhelmed with Bat Horrors, but it was a challenging scenario. I think that the everything in the design working together to play a song together as opposed to each just playing their own solos really added to the experience.
So my first play, got 2 and then 9 out of 10 damage on the Servant of Flame, and it was just really sad. Just couldn't get the last damage on there. That guy having elusive is an absolute pain in the neck.
Yes.
You can't evade him first.
Yep.
And he's got retaliate.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
anyway, then the
he's
second
tough.
time we got all 6. So
nice. Yeah, I didn't just like the I mean, you had an Andre there. Like, his foot probably does wonders for this scenario.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's basically, don't tell Trish this, but he's basically Trish. He has a free action to evade each turn.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just use the cane and that's your evasion, but you also got a damage out of it.
Yeah. Why not here? Let me put all these cards away. I'm very curious to see how they explore with this guy in the future. This guy was like, he kept showing up, and we're like, get out of here. The campus is on fire. Go somewhere else.
I killed him every single time.
Oh yeah?
I had no other way of dealing with him, right?
Yeah.
What was I gonna do? Pass a 2? We had both had 2 book. Like there's no way we're passing those tests.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you follow the advice on the act in scenario 1?
I read it and then I said, what do I do about that? I have an agility of 2 and Dexter has 3.
So you killed
him? This
him?
guy's got 4.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? We had to kill him twice.
Yeah, we killed him twice too. That's why it took so long for us on the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much choice. Like if I had known that there was a just take the attack of opportunity and leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it changes a lot for that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like 2 and 2. That seems a bit of a waste. I mean, yeah, I feel like they could have. I don't know. Like, what was your take when you read that hint?
To me, I was like, don't fight this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, again, in 3 players, you have someone who can evade him, right? Like, I was Izzy, I was evading him every turn. But it's one of those things where, like, it would be nice if there was a way to do it, right? That wasn't the attack of opportunity. But I also think the design was to teach you to take an attack of opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. That, like, it's okay to sometimes get hit, you know? It's not going to screw things over too much because that scenario is pretty light on, like, threats apart from him, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Travis was like, we can kill him twice. Travis was like, there's no way he would come back. And I was like, I think he's going to come back. Travis was like, there's no way. And I'm like, my Arkham sense is tingling. I know that this fucker is showing up again.
I knew he'd come back, but I also didn't know he would go away on the act flip, right? So I was thinking it's better to just kill him now than have him hunt all over the quad. And, you know, oh well, that's just how it goes. I mean, I could probably come up with a different way of giving the hint out there, but at the same time, it's fine. Like, there's not that much pressure in that first scenario. But I imagine for some players, they say, well, I just got rid of all of my cards to deal damage.
Yeah.
You know, if you have, what's his name? Olivier, you just go without the attack opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Talk about these cards for a little bit here. Just like if there's any sort of notable things to talk about. One thing I enjoy about this Ashen Rebirth card is that this is the Udmordot's Wrath of the set. Like, this is supposed to be like the big heavy hitter. One thing I like about this card is that it's less scary on the tin, right? Like, it's like Udmordot's Wrath could deal you 5 horror, 5 damage. People will look at that as the worst case scenario, right? But this one, like, is actually, like, more likely to kill you in the long run. Just because, like, this happened to Travis. He was Joe Diamond. He was just, like, fine. And then suddenly he was like, I got 5 damage on me. And we're like, Joe, are you okay? And he's like, no, I am not okay. You know? Which I think is, I think, like, more direct damage on these cards is actually, I think, a really interesting thing to see if they continue to explore that.
Especially since the healing is a bit better now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you've got reason to use it. I agree. I think this is a cool design. Like, I've never thought of, I mean, not that I've sat around designing counter cards, but this take 2 direct damage or horror, whichever you have more of, that's pretty cool. And this is not a test that's easy to pass, even for your Dexter Drakes of the world.
Yep, yep.
I think it's also fitting. Sorry, I also think it's fitting that the survivor, Izzy, who also has a lot of direct damage and direct horror stuff going on. This is kind of scary, but at the same time, she's got a kit to pass this test.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The new cult set is pretty similar to the old cult set. These guys being aloof, I think, is going to be a big change in the long run. They're going to be
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they also know empty locations. The Dark Magician having victory is also, I think, really nice. The new Wizard of the Order. I think that's a nice change.
This guy's a menace, actually.
Yeah.
If you can't kill him, the doom happens. Even if you evade him, like that 2 evade is kind of a trap, but depending on what your board state is, I think in this scenario he's quite tough. Got retaliates, got hunter. Yeah, I don't know. Like with everything else going on, if he shows up early, I think you're okay. Towards the end, it's a bit of a bit of bad time. Good card though.
Yeah, yeah. I liked this set too. The dissonance, the like discarding a card type, you'll probably end up choosing skill for most of these because like most of the time your skills you just use. But it's this could be a mass discard. I think I like how it can target like bigger hands as well. I think that's really neat. What is this one again? I don't think I saw this one.
Oh, that one's tough. It's very, very scary.
Oh yeah, you cannot play the cards of it. Yeah, that's a neat one here. But you can
it's random.
Yeah, you can see the design that they talked about, where like this is focused on like a specific type of countering, right? Like it's like this is countering card types, So they can now be like, okay, we want to have these 6 cards that counter like card types. Like that's what this scenario wants to do. I think that's going to be really cool to see them explore with future scenarios.
Also a bit more engaging than the old Dissonant Voices, which this kind of feels like where it's coming from. Like you can't do something, but it's both meaner in that it sticks around until you take the actions away, or you have a bit more choice involved, or it's a bit more random. So it's interesting. It's not just like, I guess I can't do this, right?
Yeah.
You might be able to get around it, like to have someone else go first, discard this for you. Then you'll be safe.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the farting guy. I'll never see anything else but this guy. He had some like, his dinner's not sitting well with him. That's the Crypt Chill.
And a horror. Yeah,
this one's fun.
It's also part of that same other set,
It's from this one. Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's not the same icon. Yeah, this is from this one up here. So yeah, this is the targeting the hand, which is really cool. And this is the ass. Yeah, see, it's like all this stuff you can just like, as opposed to just being like, the Chilling Cold set, which was a great set. I have a lot of good memories of that set. I always check to see if it's in there. But like Chilling Cold and Crypt Chill don't have much together. Like if that set was designed with today's design sentiments, Crypt Chill would be like test Brain X, where X is the shroud value of your location, right? Like they would like work in tandem, as opposed to just like trying to do their own thing, while still being flavorful in their own way, which I think is cool to see.
I think that's mostly true. The replacement for Obscuring Fog in Scenario 2 is the Flash Flood. I don't think that has much to do with Downpour.
No. That's in this one.
Yeah, that one's well, Downpour is a reprint, although they changed the
test
type of test. And then Flash Flood is kind of cool. I like that one.
Yeah, Flash Flood is like a worse Obscuring Fog, but... Yeah, they're right. This one doesn't have a lot of like cross synergy between them.
You're right for all the ones from Queen of Ash. That they seem to go together very well. Oh, want to talk about the new locked door?
Is that Arcane Lock?
Arcane Lock, yeah. That's in the second scenario as well.
This is the only thing I remember about this one is whenever it showed up, Bryn had his Necronomicon out, and we would joke that this was the consequence of him having the Necronomicon, like this was Dexter's magic. So yeah, this is the new locked door. It doesn't stop you from progressing the game, but it is a big action tax.
Yeah, this is the one where you can't really ignore it. Locked door, you could get around it. Like I always like to say, well, bring your automatic discovery clue events, and then you'll be okay. Like, You got your scene of the crime. You're good. This there's really no way around it unless you want to spend the actions and never go back.
Yeah.
And if you're by yourself, that's maybe okay.
Yeah.
And if not,
yeah, and I'm curious to see how they use this one in the future, because I feel like this is a card that is going to be more likely to show up in scenarios where there's a lot of backtracking, or you need to like hop between locations, right? Which I think is going to be, this card's going to be a menace for sure. We always got rid of it when it showed up, because it's always your location, right?
Yep.
So it's something that you have to deal with. If there's two investigators there, that's suddenly representing two lost actions if you ignore it, right? And if you have to go back, like if you ignore it and you ever have to go back, like you've fucked it. Like that's so much value lost.
what do you think about the stat swap? I mean, thematically, of course, that's what you should do, but they replaced the here's something for the fighter to do with
Here's something for
yet another
the
thing
like
for
probably the
who gets
clover to do.
Yeah.
I am happy with this change personally, because I view that there's been a lot of like old Arkham where it's like the clover is a precious little egg that you have to carry around in a little like satchel, like that's like padded. And having it so that the clover needs to take time out of their game plan seems a lot fair to balance that compared to the fighter having to solve a problem, right? Because now the clover needs to ask, oh, what do I do for this? And then also it can be a situation where if the fighter and the clover ever shows up and one of them draws this and one of them draws an enemy, God forbid it's vice versa. Like, I think it adds a lot more of an interesting thing than just like a locked door that someone will have to, like, that the fighter will deal with eventually, or that someone can cheat. This very much is the clover has to be like, okay, how do I impact this, as opposed to like the fighter being like, okay, I'll deal with that eventually, you know?
That's true. It's a more imminent issue, especially if there's an enemy that's about to hunt into you or something like that. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this is a good change, mostly because the mechanics of the card about what it's asking you to do is different. I mean, I think the old locked door is fine also for what it does, but this is a bigger threat, and I like that.
Yeah, yep. I'm happy whippoorwills are back. Them being core, I think, is great.
Oh, the eager for death is.
Oh yeah, that's going to be brutal.
With this.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
Yeah. Oh, let me put it on camera for you. Yeah, this card's always a shit kicking, and it being in the core set is going to be a big shit kicking. That's just a rough card with some great art.
Tell you again, like the fact that I think they have 10 years of experience and made even the scenarios themselves more even in what they're testing in the encounter deck, but also what happens. Like, we've played Midnight Masks a million times. There's no horror in that scenario outside of enemies or you enter the graveyard. That is not the case anymore.
Yeah,
it's pretty equal between damage and horror. So
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's all. I mean, I think again, the foundation, the bones are like really, really good here.
Oh, do you want to talk about the people? The whole David Reddenfield at all?
Not really, because I didn't really experience it enough.
Okay. You'll see it.
Yeah, I think because we only really talked to one person. I think it's so. We were talking about in scenario 2, instead of having like the cultists, you find citizens of Arkham, and you can like kill them or talk to them. For me personally, at least on my blind play, I didn't really like the codex implementation there, just because I feel like it doesn't do enough to add to the scenario in the way that like Hemlock's codex would. I feel like it's there to teach people to like read, that like you're going to be in this game, you're going to be interacting with this book, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, this new cover it goes fucking hard as hell. With like this new look that they have, and also like the side of the box is like a book cover. Like, I think like that's all really cool. The aesthetic is really good. Where are they?
I do like the Mark of Elkos, like the counter set symbol is right there. And
yeah,
that comes up a lot in the story too.
All right,
anyway.
here we go. So
I
like
the codex. I think it's cool in that. Anyway, but beyond what actually is in the book here, just the fact that we can see these folks in other contexts and there'll be something different. Like that was a strength I think of
Yep.
the design of Hemlock Vale, where you have one card, but it can do 15 different things depending on the context. So this gives them an opportunity to do, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I'm interested about, is because these are the people. It's a people. So this is a People of Arkham set. This isn't just like the. I mean, it is the cult of Udmordoth. Like they are. That was its own set as well. But
Right,
these
you never
guys.
saw them again.
Yeah, in theory, because of their codex, like David Renfield is going to do something different every time he shows up in a scenario because of the codex thing. I think in terms of like the long terms, I agree. I think the codex is going to be very good. I didn't enjoy it for this scenario because it like so I like pictured it myself in the future, right? Like if I had the choice between playing Midnight Masks or Smoke and Mirrors, and like having to check every time what like David Renfield does is a lot less clean than compared to what Wolfman Drew does, like, because that's all written on the card for that one.
True.
But I think in terms of like grand design, this is a lot more open and exciting, which I think is going to be very interesting.
I guess I'll just make a short other comment about the player count scaling is interesting with this set compared to Midnight Masks, because basically all of them have you do something X times, which is the player count. So I'm curious to revisit this at solo, 3-player, and see how different things go. But essentially, yeah, instead of just someone needs to discard 4 cards for Herman, you need to do these things multiple times.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so like she was the one we parlayed with, Naomi, because it was a parlay action, right? Mm-hmm. This one we killed her because she didn't give us a choice. She was like, sorry, you don't have a parlay, and the evader's not here. Yeah. I feel like these guys, I'm curious to see how they work. Because I feel like they all, in theory, feel like they should have aloof. But I'm curious to see in the long term. Once again, I only played this one once, and it wasn't like a good run of the scenario. So I'm curious to see it further. But
yeah, again, my first time was bad, but I enjoyed it. The second time was much more engaging. The only difference I would say between this and Midnight Masks that warrants like talking about, probably after you've played more as well, it's just that the setup is different, that all of the people get kind of blood on the altar style underneath the location. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of figure out your pathing of the scenario no matter what. Mm-hmm. And Midnight Masks makes you run around the map a bit because you don't know where the cultists spawn. Like the one you draw might be at Southside, might be at the graveyard, and that kind of matters for your actual playthrough. I think this is a bit easier.
Yeah.
To I don't want to say game, but like you have a plan and just kind of go through. Yeah,
you don't have to be as flexible as you are in Midnight Masks. You kind of have to be adaptive in that one.
That said, you don't know when the Servative Flame's going to pop out, and that's the big difference there. Instead of the agenda flip, although the agenda flip does something really annoying, this time you don't know when the 10 health or 15 health in your case enemy is going to pop out, and that makes you be a little bit more cautious about.
Yeah, and the 10 and 15 health enemy with elusive, which is not something to be trifled with. Before we move on to talk about player cards, because I want to talk about how we feel about these core set cards for a little bit to close this out. Who was your Servant of the Flame in your games?
The first time it was Margaret, and the second time it was Naomi.
Nice. It was David Renfield for us, which felt very fitting with all the love we've given this guy. And Travis said, added to another way to kill David Renfield, which was great.
Yeah, he's disillusioned now.
Yeah. All right. I'm closing out of Tabletop Simulator.
Okay.
And then I'm going to boost up the core set, because I actually had one big surprise in my deck playing through this one, where I was like, this card is actually... I didn't give this card the respect it deserved when I was first talking about it.
Okay.
But the investigators all seem like... So we played Dexter, Izzy, and Joe. And we all kind of at different points in our run through this said, these guys are very strong. Like, Dexter, Bryn said it. He was like, this guy's going to be very good. And Bryn was already like, I saw some in the PBG Discord, I saw some people saying, like, Dexter has nothing to bounce back. But Bryn started to play the fast sticky fingers.
Yeah.
Just as a way to bounce stuff back. For fast, right? Like, there's already, like, enablers, and there's already things he wants to bounce. There's a lot of pieces there to really make it work. Travis...
The mask is also good.
Sorry? The mask, he was doing the mask bouncing with all that. That's the Mask of Silenus. Travis said Joe Diamond is the new Mark Harrigan, just because his draw is so good.
Yeah.
Like... It's like one of those things where this is the thing that you and I've talked about, like what makes Rex so strong, and it's the same thing that makes Mark so strong, is the fact that you don't need to build, like, his game plan is naturally supported, right? And like that's the same thing here. Like Joe Diamond's game plan, his ability makes it so that you do not need to worry so much about finding card draw. You just can play the good things and win the game and get cards because of it, and like that's really powerful. It just means it's like it alters your deck building to like it opens it up, which is a big part of power that not many people will really focus on. And then I also said Izzy is very good. However, with Izzy, never sit on 2 damage. That's the advice that I'm going to give you today. It will kill you in a heartbeat. You will die. It will happen. So just be aware of that. I died in Smoke and Mirrors. I took 3 direct damage from my weakness. A lot of that was because Bryn didn't find a weapon, so I had to go all in on my Meat Cleaver 3 to be able to like fight consistently. So I kind of had like a ticking time bomb in my deck waiting that I wasn't aware of, and it's a lesson I'm only going to have to learn once. But her ability is so powerful. Like these are all investigators that have a very strong foundation, and I think these are all going to be very powerful. A tier baseline, I think, for all 3 of these investigators for me in the future.
Oh, I played Izzy too, but I used cards from the Miguel and Marie decks too. I'm sure I played a very different Izzy than you. I did run the Meat Cleaver 3 though, but I don't think, I mean, maybe I'm just skittish with committing stuff, but I don't think, other than maybe the first scenario, that I went above like 5 horror on me. I don't think I ever got to the 3 remaining sanity for the Meat Cleaver to give an extra. So that's why like the level 3 one was so good, because I wanted the extra to begin with.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just, maybe because I healed a bunch of horror with the Meat Cleaver too, like you just put the horror somewhere else and then you heal what was on you to begin with.
Yeah.
But I also got very fortunate in, I think, 2 of the scenarios, I drew the breaking point weakness pretty early. And once it's gone, you're like, I don't care about anything. We're
I'm going to go all in, because odds of you running out of cards in your deck are pretty small with her.
Yeah, because you shuffle things back,
and
that makes things a little easier. But I thought she was... I said this on stream, like, I think she's as good as the cards you put in your deck, which always sounds really stupid, but I think what you're doing with her ability is good, but the way I played, I didn't overdo it. I was really just trying to do other things, like mostly move stuff onto the cloak and get rid of whippoorwills that way. Were you playing with one collection across the 3 of you?
Yes, just with one,
Okay, so you didn't have the cloak then, because Dexter had it?
Dexter had it, I left that for Dexter.
Okay. Yeah, because I did the whole, like, let's move stuff around with the Lucky Charm from her onto the cloak, or you know, doing something else that way, which was very powerful.
Yes.
And I was really just using the recursion of skills for when I need to take a test, but it was strange. I didn't take that many tests, which sounds weird, but I think she can do a lot of things with all the stuff. And then what I ended up doing for the last scenario is I threw the longbow in there, and I became an agility fighter, and it was really good.
Yes, I can believe that. Yeah, for my play pattern for her, if I had a skill on my discard pile, I committed it to the next test that I took. Like,
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I never did that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was very
That's
much
yes.
like. I mean, I had less skills probably because I basically just had like the neutrals and then like the 2 survivor stuff that I put in. So like I only had I think like 8 skills, maybe 10 in my deck. But my like you know me and my playstat pattern, I go like all in and like really yeah. So like when I'm building like I'm gonna build an Izzy Legacy deck eventually, and I'm going like hard. Yeah, if something's in there, it's going into a test.
I had 13 skills, and I still didn't go crazy on them. I don't know. I mean, it's just like I think the other cards do a lot, and that's good. Like, her ability was how I passed tests. I just was being careful not to reach my breaking point, as it were.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting that there's multiple viable builds, because also you can do the spell thing, and I didn't touch the spells at all.
Yeah, I wasn't able to do that either because a certain magic magician was too busy using them. But I think of the 3, I was very impressed by Dexter though. His ability is insane. He has one of the best signatures ever printed. Like his signature is insane. Like it's so fucking pushed, right? Like. It's my favorite thing where like Izzy's twin 45s they're a good card, right? But they were glazed by like the community. It's a good weapon. It's a good weapon, you know? But like this motherfucker over here is like cheating. Like he's actually cheating. Yeah. Like this card is like it's crazy. And it's a spell. So in Legacy, there's so many ways to recur it, which is just also really exciting.
Even just to find it with Chapter 2 stuff, you get the Arcane Initiative back.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff here. I think I will say, like, I saw the Dexter that was in my first playthrough struggle a bit more. I think Bryn is probably more used to this kind of play style.
Bryn makes all this shit sing. You're 100% right with that.
Yeah, so I felt like the economy side, like being able to like play 2 things at once, was going to be tougher than you hope for, because you want to use the ability. But even just picking things up, also could be 3-player with more room for it. I don't know, but I think this guy's got a lot of room to get so much better, because this it can be opened up so much with his signature, and just with the kinds of things. Like, we don't have that many cheap things, but there will be.
Most of the time,
just the Fedora, Fedora has 2.
That's sad. Most of the time, Bryn was actually using it to bounce stuff to his hand.
That makes sense.
Which makes, with how it is. He also played Paint the Town Red, and he got like a bunch of resources from it. Which color me surprised. That's not the card that I didn't give the respect to. I'll say that much right now. Still not sold on Paint the Town Red. Especially because I think that was part of the reason why our Smoke and Mirrors went so bad, because Britain was like, here's a bat. All right, bye. I don't have much
card?
Yeah, sorry?
What's the card that you got wrong, or you're surprised by?
Old Compass. This card I actually think won us the final scenario as like the reason why we did so good. So this card I think reads very plain, but this card actually is like the shit. Like this card actually was just impressive when I pulled it out. It made it so that like any like, because it kind of like, you don't realize until you get it on the table how what you have in your hand and what the board state situation is changes the power of a card, right? So like with this, it was one of those things where my thought process was like, oh, I'm just using this to investigate, right? But the reality is with Izzy is that you are using this to guarantee
what I found.
Look what I found. Or alternatively, if you mess up once, you can go again and like have extra shots at getting stuff done. Like that extra like investigate was actually incredibly relevant for that. Like, I don't think this card is like gangbusters. I'm not like saying this card is like the best card ever printed, but I thought this card was going to be fine. But it's actually it's quite efficient, a lot more than I originally thought it was. And I even said this when I was playing. I was just like, I didn't give this card the respect it deserves.
Yeah, I mean, it reads pretty good to me. I think just based on, the finale has some 4 shroud locations. You need to deal with them somehow. And this is a good way, repeatable, even if it's like just a couple rounds that you need, seems pretty good.
Yeah.
I have not played it, and there's a level 0 one right now also in the Miguel deck. Curious what you think about that one comparison, because it doesn't give you the -2 shroud. It just gives you a redo, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you have the -1 shroud on the levels, like on the first test?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably still fine. Like, it's probably still good. Because it is also just like a repeatable +1 investigate, essentially. Like, that's a good baseline. But I think that the upgrade to the -2 is, again, it's one of those things where, like, I agree. I think this card, like, it reads good. But it's like when you actually put it into practice, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this card is actually, it's synergizing with everything else around it.
Yeah. This may be foolish to say, but I think most cards, when you read them versus when you actually play them, they're much better in practice.
Yes, I agree.
Sometimes there's a stinker here and there, but I think by and large, you will find the situation in which you'll play around it, or you'll find the situation where you're like, yeah, I can do something with this card. It's not just dead weight. Let me think if there's something that caught me by surprise. I mean, I think, that card's just crazy, right?
This card's nuts.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel unfair. Like, I think it's for 5 XP, it does a lot of damage, but guys, this is a gun that, like, this is a melee gun. It's very good. It's a very good card.
Yeah. We tried, so we got 10 XP in Smoke and Mirrors in the run yesterday, and Philion put Red Clock into his Andre deck, and we never saw it.
Yeah.
It's that's one of those things from the 3 scenario campaign that's a bit sad, but it's okay. Now, the thing that impressed me probably was these talents. I don't know if you used any of them, but Silver Tongue in Andre is really good, and probably Trish as well.
Yeah.
The 1 resource for +2, which is the +2 you want anyway, plus of how much evasion is kind of pushed, is very good.
Yeah, a big thing
is also good.
That stopped us from running it is that in core only, the economy is abysmal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, like, it's very hard to do this, but I think if you get the starter decks, like, I mean, Rogue got one of the best economy cards ever printed.
Ever.
And Out the Door is insane.
Yeah.
I was so happy that Watch This was back, and now I get, like, its cool older brother.
Right? I think Sticky Fingers will do something, but...
I mean, I'm sold on this already in Dexter. I think this is an auto-include in Dexter going forward, the fast version.
Yeah.
Just because it's... So... Because, like, you pick up what you want fast, and then the next turn you play it, and you pick up Sticky Fingers, right? Like, you just, like, loop it forever. And you always have, like, a fast way to trigger his ability, which is really nice. Because, I mean, that's what original Dexter wanted. Yeah, like, that's what, like, people would do back in the day.
The other card I think that did surprise me negatively a bit is, and maybe because of the elusive thing, but Daniela, like new Daniela, is shockingly fragile. The 9/5 split, as well as just the 3 willpower she has, is a bit tough. Like, I can't soak the attacks like old Daniela can.
Yeah.
Granted, full card pool, and I've been concurrently playing a TCU campaign with old Daniela, but this was like tougher to get her through a lot of the encounter cards. So like resilience, I understand why it exists. Like that's something she needs, but it's so expensive to play all this stuff.
Resilience, it's slotless. Yeah, it is, and like economy is so hard. And Guardian actually doesn't seem like. I mean, they got like the bounty, the crack the case, but man, like there's a lot of stuff coming. Like you could definitely see that the core and the starter decks were designed to be together.
Yes.
Bodyguard 2 was legit. Travis brought this out in Joe. That was
value.
nice. Yeah, he didn't touch this guy. Makes sense. It's pretty rough.
What weaknesses did you get?
I had... What did I have? What did I have? I don't even remember. So it didn't really matter. Oh, it was this guy. He only showed up once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he just died.
Okay. Yeah, to fire.
Yeah.
Amnesia, of course, I got that in Danielle, and that made it just that much harder. It's tough weakness. And then I got Pursued in Izzy, which was probably like a benefit because I just took the horror, put it on the cloak, and then we were good.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
So
I'm a whippoorwill. Sorry. You're dead.
Yeah. Oh, man. I do think that the weaknesses are, and plus the ones in the starters are kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But the original ones were too, so that's not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this one every day for every game on my patron game day I did last week. Me and the Gold Bug are best friends now. I got it for every one of them, which was really funny. A few more cards I wanted to just poke at to give some kind of people. Will of the Cosmos is Drawn to the Flame was already really good. This card's insane. Whether it be Dexter shenanigans or just like let it die, right? There's a lot of synergies here that are really quiet, right? Like put a Doom on a player card you control. I mean, if only like there were ways, sorry, not this one. If only there were ways to discard your cards from play, right? Like there's a lot of options to really like make it work. And for people like Travis said he didn't read this card. He thought it was just they said for some reason he never stopped. Like he didn't stop reading the card. He thought it was just a dodge. So read the cards to the end because this card also is really wonderful when it also deals that 1 damage and cancels the attack. Counterattack. I mean, I knew this card was going to be good, but run it out.
Yeah. Let me say that this card, like people were maybe stopped playing dodge. I know you didn't. You've always thought it was really good, or maybe you thought it was better recently. But this card, in the context of the core campaign, where some enemies do a crap ton of damage to you, and elusive might be something you want to cancel.
Yeah.
This card is actually much better than just throwing it on any old test or any old enemy.
100%. Yeah. And also, like we talked about Scrape By being very good, and it is. It's a very good card. But in my Izzy deck, this one actually popped off for me more. I don't know how to describe it, like why it happened this way. But I think I was very impressed by Timely Intervention. And now there's a level, like there's an upgraded version that's also like going to be hype as hell.
Yeah. Well, it's good because she can recur it, right? So you get to see it in ways that you can't see Scrape By again unless you get the level 2 Hunter's Instinct eventually. Yeah,
or alternatively, the Resourceful for events and
do or die
assets, But my favorite thing about the whole run was telling the guys that when we saw the sluice gate that I could make it happen no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah, that I thought that was a very clever way of giving an alternative ending to the scenario, where you could just like flood the sewers, but unfortunately you're going with it.
Yep.
I thought that was a very nice alternate to the throw Lita to the Udmore Doth ending. So overall, I actually think it's an incredibly good core set. I'm gonna say something that people might find to be controversial. If you're one of the people who is like a pro hater, that this core set is better than the original core set. And I think it's not
100%.
It's not even a question. Yeah, like it's
is that
from player cards to, from people say online, in terms of like how people were saying that this core set was going to be a waste of time and a money grab. This is actually a much better experience for Arkham for a new player, and for even in franchise players. I'm very excited to be playing core only and like chapter 2 only for the next ones. I think that this is it's really fun.
Yeah, there's people who have said there's like nothing to recommend or like nothing to see here for people who have all the stuff already. And I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I think this is a yeah, there's lots of elements of the old campaign, but I think you would be missing a lot by just saying, "Oh, it's Midnight Masks again." Like, presumably you like playing the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we already have some of that. We have Threads of Fate. We have other kind of similar types of scenarios out there, and they were fun to play. Like, this is definitely an upgrade overall. You know, there's some nitpicks here and there, but my goodness, there were huge problems with the original core set composition of cards, the investigators themselves, and I think the campaign was probably the weakest part of that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but it wasn't great. This, I think, has a lot to recommend across the board, but given that we'd seen the player cards, I don't know, 4 months ago, whatever it's been now, and I was sitting until last week to find out what the campaign was like. I was very pleasantly, I don't want to say surprised, but I very much enjoyed it as yeah, this is a great crack at a 3 scenario campaign that was mostly supposed to be a tutorial. Like, there are some things from the like Drowned City that seem like they weren't as polished as what we got here, which is good. The campaign itself doesn't seem to have these kind of major, maybe not major, but like errors in what was going on. Like, they kept it simple enough and it works really well, in my opinion.
Yeah. And also to give some further perspective for people who might view the game similarly to how I do, the campaigns are actually like not really the selling feature to me for a lot of things. Like, even when it comes to it, like, I'll play Dunwich 100 times because what makes Dunwich interesting to me is the decks that I bring to it. So even if you're like me and you're not going to want to play Brethren of Ash more than once, because I mean, I'm probably going to play it another few times, but like eventually I'll never, like with Night of the Zealot, I'll just like won't play it again. I'm going to use these investigators and these player cards for a very long time, and they are very good. So it's like one of those things where, for people who say it doesn't add much to the game, like you're literally covering like 70% of the box when you say that. Because the player cards are very good. Like, there are reprints. Like, I'm not going to say there isn't. I want to make a video talking about when a reprint is good versus when a reprint is bad, because I think we've had good and bad reprints in the Evergreen starters and the core set. But as a whole, the cards are new and the investigators are new for the most part. But I mean, also, like, people have been begging for a Finn that could play Seeker 02 and like Rogue stuff. Like, so it's like, it's going to be a powerful investigator. This is to me what the core set is, these player cards, and they're very good. So it gets my glowing recommendation.
I had fun. That's maybe all I need to say.
Yeah.
Probably you will too.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you want to check out Daniel's channel, you can find a link to it down in the video description. Otherwise, that's going to be it for today's video. I want to do a big shout out to all of our wonderful patrons you can find over here. If you would like to support the Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description. Otherwise, have a good one. Let me know what decks you built from the core set here, because I'm very curious to see. This is what I'm in, like, my information gathering phase, where I'm trying to determine what people are viewing to be powerful and what people are viewing to be a little bit under the gun. So let me know on all that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, a JJ's.